Yeah, Coach, you just talk about the emphasis you put on rush defense a couple weeks ago and how that seems to have, helped your defense come together here.
Yeah, I mean, that last quarter and a half against Jacksonville last week, obviously was embarrassing to everybody involved. And we seem to have done a better job against it of late.
Hey, Vic, follow up on your defense, to pitch a shutout in this league. What impressed you the most about the way you guys were doing it at all three levels?
Well, it was impressive, like you said, at all three levels. Shutouts are hard to come in this league, We need somebody to do an analytic study about how often they do come. They don't come very often. And the only way you get one is to play good, sound defense, make a play occasionally when you're in one-on-one situations, because those are invariably going to come up. We made a few of those. We didn't make them all. But the guys were just resilient and had a good mindset.
Alexander Johnson, again, was making plays today. What has he brought to this defense in back-to-back weeks? Are you at all surprised?
To be honest with you, I'm not surprised. I think I've said all along that he's got talent. He can be a good inside linebacker in this league. He got his opportunity, and he's running with it. And he's a big physical inside linebacker that plays hard and likes football. And hopefully he'll get better and better.
Cornerbacks room pretty depleted with Duke out. How did you think they held up?
How many did they score? They held up pretty good, but as you all are very well aware of, we got a different test coming here in a few days.
Were you particularly impressed by the defense, Coach, given how many possessions the Titans had?
Yeah, it's, I think they had the ball 14 times. Is that right? That's a lot of possessions in a game. And been involved in a few of those. Both defenses were playing good. We just played a little bit better. And, it's hard, but, you prepare. When you're going against a good defense, you could get into a game like this. And you just got to have your mindset ready for it.
Follow up, Vic, on the cornerbacks today. Devontae Harris gets a shot. How much do you think he benefited from that one half of work last week to sort of get a feel for how you call a game?
He benefited from it. You always benefit from playing, particularly a young player, and he's a young player. And, I don't know exactly how he played. I didn't have my eyeballs on him all the time, but he was out there every play as one of 11, and we played good. So, he deserves his credit also.
Vic, I was just wondering about Emanuel Sanders' injury.
Yeah, I don't know any details on it. All I was told was hurt his knee a little bit and he wouldn't be returning. That's all I've got. I haven't talked to the trainer since the end of the game.
Every week we see consistent effort from Courtland Sutton. Do you think it's just tip of the iceberg for this kid? Is there more to come?
I hope so. He's a young player. He's talented. He's hungry. He's a competitor. There should be more coming.
Coach, how much does your week change? You going to have practices at night or just walkthroughs? Or?
Yeah, I mean, these Thursday games are you've got to make yourself sweat on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday mentally because we won't be breaking a sweat physically. And we'll bring them in tomorrow at 3, get them started, and we'll bring them in later on Tuesday and Wednesday. Also, give them opportunity to get good rest and sleep in. I can't make them sleep in, but they're going to have the opportunity to. And then we all know the assignment we have here Thursday night with that prolific offense that they have.
7 sacks. What impressed you about the pass rush today, and how much should that help the back end?
Well, I think a lot of it was the back end helping the front end. A lot of those sacks seemed to me happening late in the down, so the coverage was good. And I think most sacks are that way, to be honest with you. If the quarterback can throw in time and in rhythm, it's hard to get there. You need to make the quarterback look to option 2 or 3, and that gives the rush time to get there. And we got there enough today.
Vic, the defense seems to be playing a little more aggressively, a little more freely. Is it comfort level in the defense now? Is it the change in personnel? Is it a combination of both? What do you attribute it to?
I think anytime you play good, it feels that way. It's just like in baseball, when a team only gets shut out or scores one run, everybody says they look lethargic. Well, they just couldn't hit the pitcher and couldn't get on base to create anything. You know, they played good. And when you play good, the adrenaline amplifies a little bit, and it seems that you're more comfortable, more confident. Thus, you know, the feeling you get, I think. But it's a product of playing good.
I really want to ask a question, if I can. This
Yes,
week,
sir, Mr. Woody.
Last week you stopped the running game. Today, was there special emphasis, both week, Gordon, and then this week, Henry couldn't do anything.
Yeah. No, well, there's an emphasis every week. You know, in that last quarter and a half was against when we were last home here, you know, when our run defense left the stadium too early. I think it, you know, embarrassed everybody, you know, me included. And since that time, we've, you know, just played better. And we haven't really put anything in new, you know, one or two things, but which I've called once or twice in the last few weeks. Guys have just played better. You know, run defense, a good bit of it is a mindset and technique. And we've had a good mindset and played with better technique the last 2 weeks.
Vic, Lindsey's touchdown, he was stopped around the line of scrimmage. How impressed are you with just his second effort and his balance to get over the goal line like that?
Well, that's Phillip. You know, he's a second effort Jesse, and he's always going to run hard, whether it's trying to get the last 2 yards of a touchdown or on the -20 trying to get a 2-yard gain. He's going to fight, and good to see him get it in there.
Coach, how nice is it? I know every win's special in the NFL, but to do it in front of the top 100 Broncos on the Ring of Fame day and all of that?
That's just icing on the cake. We could have done it in front of an empty stadium, and it'd feel really good too. But glad to have those guys here. I think it's really good that you can feel the tradition of the Broncos. Players come back. It's good for our players to see that they'll be welcomed back in a few years when they're done playing. So I'm all for that stuff.
Wadman averaged over 50 yards a punt. Just the importance of the kicking game today.
Yeah, I was really impressed with their punter. But yeah, our punter, he had the one there that wasn't very good. And sometimes I only notice the bad ones. But overall, he's been punting good for us all year. Happy to have him.
Vic, what has Mike Purcell been able to do in the middle of your defense that maybe you weren't able to get in your opening 4 games?
Well, like I've always said, you know, Mike's a good run defender. That's his specialty. He's strong. He's instinctive. He's a fighter. I go back to what I told you guys, I think, a few months ago, you know, when John and Matt asked me about signing him. I said, be careful now. You might want to keep him. And lo and behold, we did. And he's helped the last 2 weeks, no doubt about it.
Why would they say that? You might want to keep him. Why would you say that?
Because sometimes when you sign a guy late, it's kind of like fill out the roster and, you know, to practice with, et cetera. But I was around Mike when he was a rookie, I believe, and I know what kind of guy he is. Thank you very much, Coach. All right.